George Thompson Ruby arrived in Texas in 1866 with nothing but a journalist's pen, a sharp mind, and a determination that frightened the men who ran the state. He was young, brilliant, and unafraid to confront the violence that defined Reconstruction Texas. And within just a few years, he would become one of the most powerful political organizers in the entire South. Ruby was born in 1841 in New York, a free black man in a nation that was anything but free. He trained as a journalist, sharpened his voice in abolitionist circles, and learned early that information was power. But it was the end of the Civil War that gave him his true battlefield. He joined the Freedmen's Bureau and was sent to Louisiana, where he investigated racial violence and documented the brutal attacks on newly freed people. His reports were so honest, so damning, that white officials demanded he be removed. Instead, he was transferred to Texas, one of the most dangerous assignments in the Bureau. Texas was a place where black political organizing could cost you your life. But Ruby stepped into the state with confidence, and almost immediately, he became a force. He traveled from town to town, registering black voters, building political clubs, and teaching freedmen how to use the ballot as a weapon. He understood something many did not, that political power had to be built, not just hoped for. By 1868, Ruby had become one of the most influential organizers in Texas. He helped lead the state's Republican Party, and when the Constitutional Convention convened that year, he was elected as a delegate. He was the only black man in the room. Surrounded by men who openly despised him, Ruby pushed for public education, civil rights protections, and equal political representation. He fought for a Texas that had never existed and one that many were determined to prevent. In 1869, Ruby was elected to the Texas State Senate, becoming one of the highest-ranking black officials in the state's history. And once he arrived, he did not sit quietly. He introduced bills, negotiated alliances, and built coalitions that stretched across counties. He was a strategist, a deal maker, and a political architect who understood how to move power even when the odds were stacked against him. But Ruby's rise came with a cost. White supremacist groups targeted him. Newspapers smeared him. Political opponents accused him of corruption, not because of evidence, but because they feared his influence. And when Reconstruction began to collapse in the mid-1870s, Ruby saw the writing on the wall. Texas was becoming too dangerous, too hostile, too determined to erase everything he had built. In 1874, he made the painful decision to leave the state. He returned to journalism, this time in Louisiana, where he continued to advocate for black rights through the power of the press. He never stopped fighting. He never stopped writing. And he never stopped believing that black political power was not only possible, but necessary. George T. Ruby died in 1882 at just 41 years old. His life was short, but his impact was enormous. He built political structures where none existed. He organized voters who had been told they had no voice. And he proved that even in the most hostile corners of the South, black leadership could rise, organize, and reshape the future. They tried to erase him. They tried to silence him. But today, we restore him. They buried these stories for a reason. Because once you know how black power rose, you can see exactly how it was taken away. And once you see the blueprint, you can recognize every version of it still being used today. This isn't just history. This is the manual. And the fight didn't end in Reconstruction. It just changed clothes. If this episode opened your eyes, don't let the story stop with you. Share it. Talk about it. Challenge the silence that kept these men hidden. This is Black Justice Untold. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.